What's up, people? We're back for another reaction. This one was emailed to us by Robert Ferguson, and he's got a couple videos in here. He said, "What's up, Chris? Been a minute. Hope you're doing good. We're doing great. Thank you. Just wanted to share. Excuse me. Excuse me. Just want to share a couple of a couple of links to some YouTube videos for you to react to. Maybe something a little different than what you're used to. I like different. I like all kinds of stuff, except for the the political stuff. uh, but but I'll react to it. Political stuff. I mean, I'll react to just pretty much anything except for I just can't do animals. I don't know. I'm a big softy when it comes to that stuff. Big tip bag. I don't want y'all seeing me cry and stuff. Anyway, I like checking these old historical short films. Have propaganda, half educational. LOL. The first one's really hard to watch. It's about a logging country in California in the early '60s. Listen to the words of the narrator. Some of the things that they're saying is downright insane. The second one is about Chicago, and I think I got the same link here. I hadn't even looked at but the same look like the same link. But anyway, if it's the same people, then I can probably go look for it. Uh, the second one's from Chicago, but when I was a kid, it would really show that things have always been fucked up. People have always just started taking notice nowadays. On YouTube, my profile is THC Racing. I remember, I've seen that name. THC Racing. I smoked that. Looking to catch up with you soon. Me too. Have the car out this year. Have a good one, Robert Ferguson. P.S. Hope the garden. Hopefully the garden's doing good. The garden's doing good right now. We got one that's almost getting time to harvest. And I'll have one that's about a week or so behind it, and then I've got several other ones, and I'm still waiting on a photo to sprout. I just did trying this one different. I did just seed deal and just water it. So, but we'll go into there. Appreciate the videos, Robert. I believe these are the same videos, but let me let me look here. At least they look like the same videos. Same link. Same link. Yeah, it's the same link. I got the same link on the second one there. But anyway, uh, hit them. Thumbs up. Been rambling on here. Just sorry, people. LimpyReacts at gmail.com. That's where you hit me up. Hit up any of these and here. Give me a message. Shoot me a message that way. Limpy817 on Instagram as well. Or and if there's music or wherever, I might have to mute it. So just let y'all know. We'll get into this. Uh, every time I see something like this, it reminds me of the Three Stooges. You know, because if y'all don't know who the Three Stooges are, we can't be friends. I'm just saying. Just saying.
The logging of California's giant redwood trees is a big job. Even before the trees are felled, a railroad has.
I mean, look at that. That's a tree behind that dude right there. I mean, look how big that thing is.
Even before the trees are felled, a railroad has to be built to take the trees to the mills to be cut into lumber. Surveyors lay out the lines that are followed by the railroad. The ties and the rails are laid even before the trees are felled. The X means that this tree will itself be used in moving other trees as soon as they are brought down and cut into logs.
Dang, I wonder how long it'd take that dude to axe down a tree that big. I mean, and that's probably a 40-hour week right there. I mean, look at that thing. Look at that thing. Is this one where he climbs it?
The topper will cut off the top, and the tree will be rigged with cables and pulleys. For most people, a job like this would seem too dangerous, but then logging is a hard and dangerous work, and these men take pride in their strength and courage. They are the men who fell the trees and get the logs out of the woods so that we may have lumber, for houses, for furniture, for 1,000 uses of wood.
Until that.
And all in his day's work, over goes the top of this tree.
I'm about to say until that tree falls down and it hits the tree and then knocks you off that mofo.
Donkey engines are brought up to lift the big logs, haul them around, and place them on railroad cars. Heavy cables and huge pulleys are needed to lift logs weighing up to 50 tons. The actual felling of a tree begins with the making of a scaffold for the axemen to stand on as they work. Then they begin their cutting their way into trees that may be as old as our civilization. For the redwood trees of California are probably the oldest of living things. The redwoods that grow along the coast live to be 2,000 years old. They are young at 350 years, they are mature at 1,000 years, and they reach old age at 1,500 years.
Good Lord. That's a lot of...
All of the world's history since Christ was born could have occurred during the life of perhaps one of these redwoods.
Good Lord, look how big that tree is.
But just as the tree itself is able to live through centuries, to live even through forest fires, so when the axes, the wedges, and the saws bring it down, the lumber will last for many, many years. That is why it is very valuable as lumber. Insects and fungi do not hurt it, and it actually resists fire. So the saws keep working and the axemen bring the tree down.
How does it resist fire and everything like that, and you're cutting it down? Y'all need to be doing research on it.
When the cutting is finished,
look at that.
The men get away fast from the base of the tree that falls. For sometimes trees twist or fall in a way not expected.
Good Lord.
But usually they fall just as the axemen figured, and sometimes the axemen figure very closely, closer than one would imagine. So down they come, some of the world's oldest, biggest, and tallest trees. Trees that grow over 350 feet high. Trees that may be over 20 feet thick at the base. Trees that are so big that more than 20 houses can be made from just one tree. But don't think these giants are being completely destroyed. Many of the oldest and the biggest of the redwoods are being saved. Parks with thousands of acres of redwoods are set aside for our enjoyment.
There it goes. It's amazing.
But now the logs are cut to the lengths wanted by the mills and the carpenters and started on their way to becoming boards useful to mankind. But the journey is not quick, simple, or easy.
Takes a bulldozer to move that thing. Damn. I imagine that thing's probably...
The logs must be snaked out by big tractors and loaded onto heavy trucks, or dragged by the tractors out to the edge of the clearing where they can be picked up and carried overhead toward the railroad.
What do they do?
The logs look small as they swing easily through the air. Notice the big tongs, like ice tongs, that are used in lifting and moving the logs, and the booms that swing the logs onto the flat cars. But with the arrival of the logs at the railroad, a second part of the log's journey to the mill has begun. Trees that were living and growing a few days before are now on their way to be sawn into lumber.
Damn. That's a runaway.
These coast redwoods are used for lumber, but there is another species of redwood which is not. It is the redwood of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The scientific name for both is sequoia, the name of a famous Cherokee Indian.
Wonder what the difference is.
The Sierra redwood is even bigger than the coast redwood. It grows to be as much as 40 feet thick at the base, and it
Good
lives
Lord.
longer. It may live to be 4,000 years old. Redwoods are today native only to California and a small section of Oregon. But thousands of years ago, they were to be found throughout Europe and Asia. They grew in countries that are now cold, but were at one time warm. Places like Alaska, Iceland, and Greenland. Their history goes back millions of years to the time of the dinosaurs.
Look at that. I mean, y'all seen how
But
big.
here at the sawmill, the redwoods are just big logs that have to be unloaded into the mill pond. And the straight arm that is used in football is found here to be simple and efficient. Trainload after trainload comes to the mill to meet the huge demand for redwood in this country.
I wonder if
and
that
abroad.
train leans over like
The
that so
demand
they
for
can.
a wood that will not rot, that termites will not eat, that fire cannot easily burn.
Yeah.
Into the mill pond they go, one huge log after another, each one meeting the demand for a wood with its special advantages. Here are the timbers that won't rot in wet mines, or the railroad ties that won't catch fire when burning cinders fall on them. And here is a mill where the logs are brought from the forest and stored in a mill pond where they can be easily moved.
There's a lot of wood
As
just
fast
floating
as
there.
the mill can cut them, they are floated over to the conveyor belts and brought up into the mill. The bark is removed and ground up for use as an insulating material against heat. Then the big saws begin cutting off enormous boards.
Damn.
The whole log is moved past the bandsaw as each board is cut. The log moves back and then comes forward for the cutting of the next board.
And look how big that
After
machine
this,
is
the
compared to
boards with
that guy.
bad parts in them are cut.
Is this still used today?
The
I wonder.
trimmerman in the angel's roost, as it is called, can raise and lower his saws to cut out the bad sections and save the rest. Then the boards are checked and graded for quality. From here on, with the drying and the seasoning, our redwood trees have become lumber. Instead of enormous trees miles
Good
away in the
Lord.
forest, we have timbers and boards being sorted and piled, stacked as high as a small tree by this hilky
Look at
pile.
that. No tied off, no
When
OSHA
the
on
wood
that one.
becomes seasoned, it will be shipped all over the world. Taken from mills like this and transported to wherever redwood is needed. But when we look at stacks of redwood lumber, we may well be reminded of its ancient history. For this is lumber from a species of tree that has survived for millions of years. Trees that can withstand the insects and diseases that kill off other species. Trees that can withstand fire. Trees that tower over 350 feet. Trees that live to be 2,000 and 4,000 years old. The tallest, biggest, oldest trees in the world. And so the lumber from such trees gives us a wood that has the same enduring qualities. Also the wood that has a beauty which we enjoy in our homes for its richness and warmth of color. For just as the Russians discovered at the time when their old empire extended into California, and they built this stockade and blockhouse at Fort Ross, redwood has not only beauty and endurance, but a strength born out of the ages. The world's biggest and oldest of living things, the coast and Nevada redwoods, continue to live in our use of them just as they continue to live and grow in our forests today.
There you have it, people. There you have it. Uh, Man, you see, some of them trees are freaking huge. I mean, they're freaking huge. I mean, what do you say? The other one is you can't cut it down or whatever, but they're twice as big as them things. 40-foot base, uh, 4,000 or 5,000 years old. Good lord, that's a lot of. And then having to axe that, even when you see the saw, the hand saw going back and forth, you're still. I mean, I'd probably take them at least a couple of days. I don't know. Maybe if y'all know, I don't know. Maybe Robert knows. I don't know. So I figured it'd take a couple of days to cut down a tree, and then you got to trim it up so you can at least drag it out of there because you ain't got one of them dozers ain't gonna drag one of them trees out, the whole tree about so. Uh, but I don't know. Hit that right there. Uh, yeah, right. You sent me the same link on the other one, but I'll look for that guy or that deal, and everything will be linked down in the description below. Uh, for that deal, for the video and the channel. Uh, you have a good one. Later.